Let me tell you, it is going to be tough to top that one.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen. Every single day, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Vibes, they are immaculate, okay? They maybe couldn't be higher. The Detroit Tigers obliterate the Boston Red Sox by a score of 14-2 in Comerica Park. That is now a 27-15 record, which is still comfortably the best record in the American League. And you know what? That's not going to hurt the run differential. All right, let me tell you. It's going to be a pretty good night for Detroit if you are a standings watcher in May. My first thought is, what an effing response from this team, man. And I think that is one of the most important values. Sounds far too dramatic, but one of the most important things is probably too generic the other direction, that this team does on a consistent basis. Attributes, maybe, sure, that this team has their ability to respond to losses. The way that they has been incredible this year. And I genuinely think that it might be the biggest reason, if not one of the biggest reasons, that they sit atop the American League. They have not gone on a legitimate losing skid in we're approaching a calendar year, dog. You know what I mean? Like the entire second half, they were the best team in baseball last season. Certainly from trade deadline on. So it is amazing that is carried over into this season. And it's something that I know is so cliche. And I know it's something that when the Tigers were losing games, 2022, that a lot of the fan base is really frustrated with. But this is that paying off. This is you building a culture. This is Hinch building a culture. When he says, we don't get too high with the highs, we don't get too lows with the lows. We just focus on the next day. We got to always focus on tomorrow. And it's really frustrating when you're losing 95 games to hear about how you're just, focusing on tomorrow. But that is implemented when the Tigers are bad so that we can reap the benefits when the Tigers are good. And that is a culture that has been instilled in this organization for years now. And everybody is on board and understands and follows it. Again, they have not gone on a legitimate, holy, whatever. They've lost 4, 5, 6, whatever in a row since before the All-Star break, before the trade deadline of last season. They attack each game and have a short memory. And the old Tigers, one loss would spiral. And I'm talking 2017 through 2019 Tigers. That one loss would just turn into 15 before you knew it. And it's just, it's so awesome. It is such a great trait to have. And I think it is what makes them so dangerous over the course of 162. So what went right? Everything. Everything went right. Nothing. I mean, we'll talk about what went wrong in quotes. Everything. 14 runs and a great outing from Jackson Jobe. We'll start with the offense because 14 runs is 14 runs. 9-run third inning. Trey Sweeney is now hitting .267 with a .735 OPS. And I don't laugh because I didn't think he was like capable of being a decent hitter. I laugh because a week ago he wasn't. Like a week ago we were like, wow, he might get demoted, and he has been on such a heater that now we're here, and this dude has like comfortably above league average numbers across the board. Unbelievable. Hits a home run in this one. Gleyber Torres. Uh, he is approaching a level of production, and it's mid-May, and they're not going to score 14 runs every game. Okay, like we have a lot of baseball. There's going to be a lot of downs. We talked about that yesterday, right? Like they're going to lose games, they're going to lose series, they're going to go on losing streaks. Like it's going to happen. But Gleyber Torres, so far, I think is making a legitimate case of being one of, at worst, one of the most undervalued and like underrated additions of the entire offseason across all of baseball. This dude is hitting now 304 with an 857 OPS. He had a home run in this game. He has, going into the weekend, he had like one of, if not the fewest strikeout totals for an everyday starter in all of baseball. And he's drawing walks. He has become not only, one of the best top of the lineup hitters, batting 1 or 2 every night, hitters that the Tigers have, but like this guy would be a table setter in pretty much any other lineup in baseball with how he's played. Please don't be hurt. So far this season, I read a notification on my phone that said Jason Tatum hurt. And I said the word as I was looking at the stats I have written down. So I just want to really give Gleyber his flowers, man. He just continues to be on an unbelievable level of production. Has been fine defensively as well. I know that was a concern. It's also really funny to watch him play against American League East teams because, like, if you ask any fan of an American League East team, they all say, like, oh, yeah, Gleyber Torres has just, like, crushed us in his career. I mean, especially, like, the Orioles are the famous one, obviously, but, like, all the fan base are like, oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. What an addition he's been. And then Javi. Javi has a 3-hit night. He is now hitting 313 with an 808 OPS. 313 batting average. How poetic is that? And he's doing that again. I cannot reiterate this enough. I actually think if I spent an entire half an hour just repeating this point over and over again and had everybody in the comments talking about how awful of a show it was because I just repeated the same thing for 30 straight minutes, I actually don't think even that would be nailing home this point enough. He is playing plus defense in center field while hitting over 300 with an OPS over 800. If you would have said those words in that order to me in February, I might have slapped the bleep out of you. I might have. And laughed in your face. Absolutely unbelievable. Got a couple of more. I mean, we could really just talk about the whole lineup, sans maybe like 1 or 2 hitters on the offensive side of the ball. And then we're going to get to my favorite part of this game, which was not the offense at all. We'll talk about all that right after this. Got to talk to you today about our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never a better time to get in on all of the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to spend smart and win big. It is Absolutely electric postseason basketball. This Knicks-Celtics series has been wild. I don't know who to root for because the Knicks beat the Pistons, but also the Celtics are the Celtics. I don't even know. FanDuel has so many great and fun offers, though, to make it even more exciting. And if you're new to FanDuel, the perfect time to sign up is now. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping Game 2 against the Boston Red Sox. Talking about this 14-2 victory in Game 1 of the series. However, first, talked obviously a lot about Gleyber and Javi. Kerry Carpenter with a great game, kind of setting the tone early. It's weird, a little unconventional, I would say, putting Carpenter in the leadoff spot when a righty's on the mound. But we talked about it the first time he did it earlier in the year. Like he's hitting so well that you kind of just want as many at bats against righties as possible for Carpenter over the course of a game. And it kind of gives you a little bit of managerial flexibility with the platoons and the pinch hitting he does later in the game as well. But I think that you see why, like for to have when a righty is on the mound, Carpenter, you know that there's a decent chance that you're going to start off the ball game with a runner on base. Is great, and the fact that there's a really decent chance it's an extra base hit or even a home run is obviously just icing on the cake. And then you have Gleyber, who has just been an impossible strikeout, on base guy. It really is. I don't hate it. I know we want Carpenter up when runners are on base and stuff, so he has a chance to drive him in. But you're also getting that after the first at bat of the game because Sweeney and Dingler and Javi have been producing so well. I think you kind of get a best of both worlds situation there. Zach McKinstry with a couple of knocks is good to see. We kind of saw the offensive numbers slowly start going back down to kind of where more we expected them to. So for him to have a couple of knocks, I think is really exciting. So the offense was awesome, right? 14 runs, 9-run inning, all fantastic. And that is, we'll point to this outing, the rest of the season as one of the best offensive performances of the year. I don't want to take anything away from the offense and how great it was. They were scoring off of, Newcomb out of relief. They obviously just absolutely smacked Tanner Houck around the yard. All great things. I am more excited about Jackson Jobe's start than I am the offense. That was awesome. Jackson Jobe, I feel comfortable saying it's the best start of his Major League Baseball career up to this point. Goes 5 2/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 walks, which is obviously a very high number, 7 strikeouts, which is also a pretty solid number if you ask me, and the 1 home run against. We'll talk about the walks here in a second, because if he doesn't walk the last hitter he faces, he's going to get a quality start, but he, did. 15 whiffs. 15 whiffs against a Red Sox lineup that, while it is whiff heavy and is very aggressive when it comes to just swinging in general, also still produces runs and has a lot of heavy hitters in it. 15 whiffs. And even if we want to go even further here, okay, dive even deeper. 4 whiffs on the 4-seam fastball and 2 on the sinker. 6 swings and misses via variations of fastball. I could cry. I might start crying on camera here. 14 runs for the Tigers. And I don't even think, I do not want this outing to get just glossed over or overlooked because of how good the offense was. This was absolutely fantastic. righty changeups. He was getting chases on it, got a couple of swings and misses on that as well. The slider, all like 8 different variations of his slider that he has, diabolical, got called strikes and swinging miss strikes. And then a curveball, like a true curveball, called strikes, swinging miss. He got whiffs on multiple whiffs on every single pitch he threw, got called strikes on every pitch he threw, was in and around the strike zone for a decent amount. I even with like a half an hour third inning as well, right? That is something that is very difficult for pitchers to just walk back out there after, right? You have an offense that's really hot. They score a ton of runs. That's awesome. Everybody's excited. You obviously are never going to say no to runs. But Jackson Jobe was sitting in the dugout for so long, he had to go into the clubhouse and like throw a couple of pitches just to stay warm. Went out there and continued to attack. I couldn't even care less about the 5 walks. And the reason why is because the command is something that is developable. That is something that will come with time. This was what, his 7th career start? And we finally saw him get whiffs on everything. That is absolutely freaking amazing. 5 walks is obviously way too high, especially for only 5 2/3 innings. It's something that he certainly does not want to continue going forward. The Tigers don't want him to continue going forward. The Tigers preach dominating the strike zone. All of this is true. And especially he had one half inning particularly where he was just kind of spraying the ball all over the place. But there was reassurance in this outing of like, okay, the stuff the stuff is going to play though. For anybody that might have been worried, I have been on, very well record here of saying that I have not been. And I think he should be in the majors. And I think that this is why. You have to take these baby steps. And it'll be a roller coaster. He's a rookie. This was, again, he still has single-digit starts at the major league level. But I think that this was a fantastic outing and a fantastic sign. You saw him attacking all 4 quadrants as well, to both handedness of batters. Him not being afraid to throw changeups to righties. Him not being afraid to throw curveballs to lefties. Like, him just willing to open up the arsenal and throw anything to anybody is going to be so dangerous when he does get that command figured out. And this is part of the journey, baby. Absolutely awesome stuff. Bullpen wise, really awesome to only use 2 relievers in this game as well. I know people talk about how, when you're getting blown out and you're getting crushed by another team, to not go through half or more of your bullpen. Well, the same thing kind of goes for the opposite as well, right? You want to use as few of your high leverage relievers as possible when you're winning by a bunch. So for Gunther to go 2 innings there, I think is really important and kind of undervalued. And then Brebbia still kind of slowly easing back in from the injury, getting the end of the 8th and the 9th there. He did give up the home run, but whatever. I think it's okay. And even the home run that Jobe gave up, like, he just hung a pitch. You can't take a pitch off. Wilyer Abreu has been like one of the more underrated players in all of baseball so far this season. He's had a fantastic 2025. Can't hang off-speed stuff to a really good hitter like that, especially, Wilyer crushes right-handed pitching. So aggressive base running, fantastic. And something that I appreciate so much is that this team just doesn't let up. Like, they're not going to let you back into the game. That is the mindset. They're going to get up early. They're going to score early. They as of last week, at one point at least, had the most first inning runs in baseball. Maybe that's changed since, but this certainly backs this game. And to be able to, we're up 11, and like Zach McKinstry's still beating out infield singles and trying to bust his butt down the line so that, Malloy can score and we can go up 13. Like, to just have that mindset, I think is so important. And it's something, again, the culture was instilled when the team was bad, so that it could carry over to when the team is good. and that's a beautiful thing. Let's talk about what went wrong, which will take about 5 seconds, and then we'll talk stuff, okay? We'll do that right after this. All right, everybody, welcome back. Your third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. So what went wrong? I feel like a jerk picking anything that went wrong in this game. Like, what? Like, how nitpicky do you want me to be? Again, like Brebbia's homer, maybe, but like he's still kind of working himself back into the mix from his injury. He still has a sub-3 ERA even after it. I really couldn't care less. Jace Young's at bat, I didn't think was particularly good, I guess. He just, I don't know, his swing, maybe it's a mechanical thing. I think it probably is a little bit of a mechanical thing. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that going forward. But like just continues to not be too productive at the plate. But he had one plate appearance and grounded out to first base. Like it's one plate appearance. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm more interested in how he looks the next time he starts a baseball game than I am one pinch hit opportunity in a 12-run game. So I don't know. I feel like, I guess technically I just gave you a couple that could, but I don't consider those even what went wrong. I don't really care about anything else. This is kind of my new benchmark for game of the year. And that's something that I did actually want to talk about, and I have written down on my show sheet. Like, I feel like a lot of people kind of just like throw out the term game of the year or say, oh, like that's the best game we've played all year. That's the best game that fill in the blank team has played all season. I don't know if this game is toppable. I don't know if this game can be surpassed in terms of game of the year. I think it comfortably is up to this point. But you have 14 runs of offense. You have a 9-run inning, but you also score later in the game and earlier in the game. Like you have offense top to bottom in the lineup card. And then on the mound, you do have like Jackson Jobe's first real, like, holy cow, he might be here performance. Like, again, I'm not trying to make it sound like this dude just threw like a no-hitter or something. Like he still has plenty to work on. 5 walks is too much. But like, this was the first time that he's been throwing 99 and hasn't gotten a swing and miss on it. Like, this is the first time that you saw, again, 15 whiffs. He was getting strikeouts. He was, again, called and whiffs. Like, this was, and at home, like, coming off of a series loss, like, this just had so much going for it. I don't know, man. This is, unless there's like a Tarek Skubal no-hitter where the Tigers score 15, like, I don't really know if this game is going to be topped for me personally. This is my new benchmark for game of the year, I guess, is my I don't know, theory here. That's my take. This is the new, you have to beat Monday, March 12th against the Red Sox. You have to beat that game to be considered the game of the year. Other stuff that happened, we'll talk stuff. The Riley Greene Little League home run, always fun to see that. Willier just completely, I mean, that's a gold glover out there in right field, just completely misplayed. It kind of took a weird hop. I think it's just kind of when it rains, it pours situation for the Red Sox there, unfortunately. I also think AJ Hinch is just, again, like keeping the culture and the mindset going is so hilarious in games like this when Justin Henry Malloy is pinch hitting for Colt Keith in the 3 spot in the lineup when the Tigers are winning 10-0. Like, that's hilarious. And I don't want it to stop. Like, some people get upset at that. And there's a little bit of wiggle room there. Like, he did allow Carpenter to face lefties, right? And Colt Keith, he had facing lefties in high leverage this weekend. Colt Keith is not a platoon hitter. He just thought, okay, like, we need to get Malloy some at-bats. They brought in a lefty. Here's my opportunity to do that. And it reminds every single hitter, like, doesn't matter what the score is. Down 10, up 10, your number could get called at any moment. And they've all really bought into that. And it's moments like that where you kind of realize why. Torkelson goes 0 for 5. And, you know, it's funny. Like, he goes 0 for 5 with a strikeout. The team scores 14 without him. Who cares? I don't even think his at-bats were bad. Like, he almost took a ball out of the park to the opposite field. He almost had a homer the opposite way there, but, like, he had a couple, one at least full count at bat. Like, he had competitive at bats. I don't even think and like, that's just where kind of Torkelson is at for me as a hitter. It's like, all right, came up empty. A, didn't need him. B, thought they were still pretty competitive at bats. Okay. Oh, the other thing I want to put and just say really quickly here for any maybe Red Sox faithful that are watching, go watch Locked On Red Sox. Fantastic show over there. But Christian Campbell is good at baseball, man. Might not have had a beautiful stat line in this ball game, but that's a really good baseball player. And yeah, he's going to be really, really good for a long time. Okay. So now you have a little bit of breathing room, which is really exciting with the Montero outing today as we listen to this on Tuesday, because you are up in the series already and you have Skubal going in game 3, which is kind of like a cheat code a little bit. It's like, all right, well, end the series. You're down 0-2. We're going to throw Skubal. You're up 2-0. We're going to try to go for the sweep. You split the first 2 games. Well, let's go for a series win and throw the best pitcher on the planet. So absolutely awesome to just win this game in any capacity. Nonetheless, again, in the response to the series loss this weekend, just in such dominant fashion, the offense goes really quiet on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, really the whole series against the Rangers. And to come out and just remind people, hey, we're not facing DeGrom and Eovaldi every single night. We can still do damage and still have good nights like this is absolutely incredible. Also, shout out to Sean Newcomb, dude. 100 pitches out of the bullpen. Like, he might have saved the Red Sox, like saved the series. Again, like the Tigers are going to be favored in game 3, obviously, but like for game 2, like now they are going to have still a fully fresh bullpen. If Bayo can have a good outing, I don't know. I just mad tip of the cap, mad respect to him, because that's 100 pitches out of the bullpen is absolutely diabolical stuff. Okay, game 2. Bayo is one of my, I said this going into the series yesterday, he's one of my favorite young up-and-coming pitchers in baseball, and had a little bit of injury stuff last year in the beginning of this year, but so far when he has pitched, he's been great for the Red Sox this season. So we'll see what the Tigers can do against him. The Tigers are going to start Tyler Holton, but then Cater Montero is going to be the bulk inning guys. They're going to use an opener, which means the return of pitching chaos in Detroit. The highly marketed, a lot of people on the national media scale deeming it the reason why the Tigers went on the run that they did in the second half of last season. We're going to have a pitching chaos-esque game here on Tuesday. And if you win that, then you're in beautiful shape to go for a sweep against a pretty darn solid team in the Boston Red Sox. What a ball game. 14 runs of offense. Jackson Jobe with a really solid start. We are so back. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping game 2 against the Red Sox. After you make us your first listen, make Locked On MLB Game Night your second listen. Go check it out. After the final out is made every night, Locked On MLB's YouTube channel live streams. Well, there's a handful of Locked On hosts, but 2 Locked On hosts that will go up there. And it's, like I said, kind of a revolving door. And they recap every single game from that night with, snippets from all of the local hosts to highlight each game as well. It is awesome. You'll see my ugly mug on there every once in a while. It is fantastic. Jake Rietma, Locked On Tigers postcast. Check him out as well after the final out of Tigers games. Also does some work with Locked On MLB Game Night. It is great. You can find it again on Locked On MLB's channel or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. What a ball game. And I will catch you all tomorrow. Go Tigers, baby.